bystanders. Our next guest is going to be talking about something that we all experience. Some of us more than others. Anger.
Dr. Karin Ryan is here.
Ken, you want to come over and join us?
Nystrom and Associates. He just got back from vacation. He's like in the most zen place we've ever seen him.
I know.
Karin Ryan is here with Nystrom and Associates to talk a little bit more about how the heat outside can get people heated from time to time.
Yes.
And I think we have all experienced that as we sit here and kind of laugh about it, but it's a true thing.
It is a true thing. Research shows that like pitchers are more likely to throw more aggressive pitches. Football players are more likely to have aggressive fouls. We're more likely to be kind of aggressive or honk when we're driving, and even we're less likely to be kind and help somebody when we're kind of hot and uncomfortable.
So is that a physical reaction, or what? How does that all work?
Yeah. When you think about, because when we get hot, right, our heart rate increases, our blood pressure increases, and if it gets hot and humid enough, our bodies go into like a stress response, and we release more cortisol, which is like activating, right? It makes us feel irritable, uncomfortable. And then if we're also dehydrated, we don't feel good. And so you can see all these things kind of come together, so then our body is kind of sending us a signal of like, we're uncomfortable, we're not feeling good, and then we're more likely to get irritable.
So what do you do about it?
What do you do about it? Yes.
This is why people,
there's no magic fix.
if they lose their air conditioning, they like lose their mind.
Yeah, it gets,
For example.
I think it's being aware that it happens, right? And so if you start to feel more irritable, you're like, oh yeah, it's 90, it's humid today. Okay, I'm not really angry at this person, or I'm not really upset about the situation. I'm feeling more irritable. So it's kind of checking in with yourself. And then it's being really intentional to do all the things that we're always encouraged to drink water, take breaks in the shade, and then also being thoughtful, like in coping ahead and thinking about how long are you expecting yourself to be outside in the heat, right? So as you think, oh, I'm going to the Minnesota State Fair and it's going to be 90, okay, when am I going to intentionally take breaks and check in and see how I'm feeling?
It kind of takes me back to like my grandma. My grandma lived on a farm, and I remember her, like when it would be in the Valley of California, it would get up to 110 degrees, and she just slowed down. And I never really got it, but she just slowed down because she knew, I think, if she continued at the pace that she normally was doing every day, it would be, you know what I mean? It would trigger more, and she didn't want to be that person. So she just kind of like, she didn't take days off, but she just limited what she did, and now it kind of makes sense.
It was intentional about that, and it was aware and kind of just had that plan. It's why people take siestas as well, right? That midday, get out of the sun, rest, relax. And so it's really giving yourself permission to do that. So if you're at the cabin, or you're out at the fair, or you're doing something all day, giving yourself permission to go sit in the car, even if that's your only option, or go hide in the shade and just chill for a little bit. And
it doesn't necessarily have to mean that you're like triggered, angry. You can be just a little edgy or a little cranky or whatever. And you're saying if you do a little like preventative measures, maybe you can avoid that.
Yeah, or big.
So I don't think anybody ever thinks about that. Like, it's going to be a hot day. I should try to like calm down right now so I don't get upset about something.
And I think it's noticing that in other people too. So if your kids or your loved one's getting more irritable, you're like, oh, what's wrong with them? It's a great day. We're out here. We should be having fun. It's, oh, wait, we're all really uncomfortable. And sometimes even just naming that for that other person, like, I know it's so uncomfortable and we're so hot.
Is it a good idea to point out that the other person is cranky?
Maybe you should go have a seat in the shade.
And you see, that's like, right? That's what we want to do. What's wrong with you, crabby
I'm
pants?
imagining saying that to my wife or one of the kids, and them going, just making them even more irritated.
Right? And so it's like, can you like utilize your own self? Like, oh man, I'm feeling really uncomfortable and hot. Like, is there someplace we can chill or just take a minute? Yeah, because you're right. That's like, are you crabby? Are you tired? Those questions we don't ever
And then if they weren't, they are now.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's just really being aware, like, my body's responding normally. This is a normal physiological response I'm having. I just need to take care of myself.
Well, what's interesting is this doesn't happen when it's cold, when your body is cold, right? I mean, this is just kind of a heat thing.
It is. So you recognize in the winter, we're more likely to feel down or have that depression, right? Because our mood goes down, we don't have the vitamin D, all those reasons we've talked about in the past. But in the summer, we're much more likely to have anxiety and stress because of that cortisol, because of that stress response that happens when we're hot. Yeah, and normally we can miss that and think, oh, it's such a beautiful day, I should be so happy. Yeah. And it's just knowing, okay, this makes sense that I'm feeling uncomfortable.
You know, it also makes me think about, and we weren't really planning to talk about this, but it makes me think about, things that happen in the summertime. And a lot of times there's big news events where there's, whether it's rioting or whether it's an increase in crime, and you do hear about that happening when it gets overly hot outside. And I never really drew the connection between like people actually like physically angry because they're hot, and
yeah, and you're exactly right. That's what the research does show. You know, and there's a different factors too. People are outside longer and later because it's light out, but absolutely that heat plays a role in that increase in agitation and increase in violence. Yes.
I think a lot of this is just being mindful, just listening to your body, which I think is kind of hard to do. At times you kind of get in the moment, you're doing what you're doing, you're going about your day and your routine, but it's taking that moment to think, what does my body need right now?
100%. Just like the last segment, right? Where we are so connected and we're not really checking in. So when we can check in and see where we're at.